Dear cadets, Assalamu alaikum and a pretty good morning to all of you. I hope you all are well, safe and sound at your respective houses with your parents and your near and dear ones. Dear cadets, we are facing a very difficult time, challenging situations during this corona pandemic. Without any more delay, I'd like to move into my session. But before that, some initial statement regarding corona. What you should do to face this pandemic, you should wash your hands frequently, use handkerchief or tissue paper for while sneezing and coughing. Definitely, you must wear masks if you are outside. There is no alternative to this. What we should not do, we should not neglect if we have any sort of fever, colds, anything. We must take immediate action. We should not shake hands or hug any sort of physical contact with anyone, and we must be away from wild animals. You know me, I am your Bulbul Gaji sir, lecturer in English, Department of English, Borshal Cadet College. While preparing these lessons, I consulted these books mainly: Collins Schofield English Grammar, Oxford English Grammar, Intermediate English Grammar, and Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary, which is a very wonderful dictionary. Look at this picture. What can you see? A bouquet of yellow roses lent color and fragrance to the room. Is this sentence correct? I hope not. So by this, you may have understood what is the topic today. Right forms of verbs. After the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe the appropriate rules of subject-verb agreement, apply the rules of subject-verb agreement appropriately, identify the right form of verbs in different situations. Finally, apply the rules of right form of verbs in different situations. This session is divided into two parts. Part 1, we will talk about subject-verb agreement. And the next part, we will talk about right form of verbs. So what is subject-verb agreement? The verbs are customarily followed by the subjects, and they must agree with the subject according to the number and person. Remember, number and person, the relationship between verb and subject based on their number and person is called subject-verb agreement. Basic rule: a singular subject takes a singular verb, whereas a plural subject takes a plural verb. Example, the list of items is /r on the desk. If you know that list is the subject, then you will choose is for the verb. Rule number 1, subject will come before a phrase beginning with of. This is a key rule for understanding subjects. The or of is the culprit in many, perhaps most subject-verb mistakes. Look at this example. A bouquet of yellow roses lend color and fragrance to the room. So this is a wrong statement because the subject is a bouquet, single bouquet. So it should be singular. A bouquet of yellow roses lends color and fragrance to the room. Two singular subjects, our next rule, two singular subjects connected by or, either or neither nor require a singular verb. My aunt or my uncle is arriving by train today. Neither Juan nor Carmen is available. Either Kiana or Casey is helping today with stage decoration. Now, the rule is very simple. Two singular subject connected by, remember, two singular subject connected by this or either or. We have some exceptions. We will talk about it later on. Rule number 3, the verb in an or either or neither nor sentence agrees with the noun or pronoun closest to it. This is the rule I was talking about in the earlier slide. Look at this sentence. Neither the plates nor the serving bowl goes on the shelf. Neither the serving bowl nor the plates go on that shelf. So in these two sentences, you see, in the earlier slide, I told that two singular subject connected by either or neither nor will take a plural verb. But here, you see, the subject, when neither the plates, you see, they are not singular subjects. We have different number. So the rule is different. So in this regard, in this situation, the verb will follow the subject closest to it. The serving bowl, it is close to the verb. So it is singular, so the verb is singular. In the second sentence, the plates, they are plural, so the verb is plural. I hope you have understood. Rule number 4, as a general rule, use a plural verb with two or more subjects when they are connected by and. A car and a bike are my means of transportation. So, when a plural verb with two or more subjects then is connected by and, then the subject will be plural. But there are exceptions. Breaking and entering is against law. The bed and breakfast was charming. You see, they are in those sentences, breaking and entering, bed and breakfast are compound nouns, so they're giving you singular idea. That's why this is exceptions. Though in those situations, there is school of scholars who have different opinions, but still now we follow these exceptions. Rule number 5, sometimes the subject is separated from the verb by such word as along with, as well as besides, not, etc. These words and phrases are not part of the subject. Remember, these words and phrases are not part of the subject. Ignore them and use a singular verb when the subject is singular. So look at this example. The politician, along with the newsman, is expected shortly. What the rule says, as well as along with, we should ignore the extension. We should focus on the first subject. Parentheses are not part of the subject. Parenthesis means whatever remains inside bracket. So, Zoe, parenthesis begin, and his trusty mouth close was always welcome. So, we will not consider parenthesis as a part of subject. In sentences beginning with here or there, the true subject follows the verb. So it's a tricky one. Look at this example. There are 4 hurdles to jump. There is a high hurdle to jump. Here are, we know there, here, and these are introductory words. So after this, the true subject usually remains after the verb. So here there are 4 hurdles. How many hurdles? 4. So that's why the subject is plural. But in the next sentence, we have a single hurdle. There is a high hurdle. So it was the subject, the verb is singular. The word there's a contraction of there is relates to bad habits in informal sentences. Like there's a lot of people here today because it's easier to say there's than there are. Take care never to use theirs with a plural subject. Use a singular verb with distances, periods of time, sums of money, etc. when considered as a unit. Remember, when considered as a unit. 3 miles is too far to walk. 5 years is the maximum sentence for the offense. $10 is a high price to pay, but $10 were scattered on the floor. So here, this is not a singular unit. with the words that indicate portions, for example, a lot, a majority, some, all. Rule number 1 given earlier in this section is reversed, and we are guided by the noun after of. If the noun after of is singular, mark this very carefully. If the noun after of is singular, use a singular verb. If it's plural, use a plural verb. Look at the examples. A lot of pie has disappeared. So after of, you have pie, singular. That's why it is singular verb. A lot of pies have disappeared. So plural, that's why we have plural verb. A third of the city is unemployed. City, singular. A third of the people are unemployed. So plural, that's why we will take plural verb. With collective nouns such as group, jury, family, audience, population, the verb might be singular or plural depending on the writer's intent. So all of my family has arrived or have arrived. So it depends on the speakers or the writer's intention with these collective nouns. The word or replaces us in sentences that expresses a wish or contrary to fact. Look at the examples. So in unreal situation, if Joe were here, you would be sorry. So this is unreal situation. I wish it were Friday. She requested that he raise his hand. These are unreal, wishful statement or unreal situation. Here, instead of was, we were use were. In first example, a wishful statement, not a fact, is being expressed. Therefore, were, which we usually think of as a plural verb, is used with the singular it. Technically, it is the singular subject of the object cause in the subjunctive mode. It were Friday. Now we are entering into the second portion, which is right form of verbs. So rule number 1. The verbs are also related to the structure of different sentences and clauses. A clause has only one verb. In fact, a clause cannot contain more than one finite verb, but can have participles, infinitives. So what is this? If you have more than one verb in a sentence, you must be aware that only one verb will be the main verb or finite verb. The rest will be either infinitive or gerund. Look at the example. Swimming is a good exercise to keep your body fit and healthy. The connector since has two uses. If since is used to indicate a cause, the verbs of the two clauses will be of the same tense. So if since is used to indicate a cause, reason, then the verb will be of two clauses will be the same. So I didn't go since you didn't come, past tense, past tense. Since you were busy, I didn't disturb you. Now, the second rule. If since is to indicate time, the verb of the second clause will be of different from the first. It has been 20 years since he played football. Now, so as we talked earlier, if since is used to express time, then we will have different form of tense. It has been 20 years since he played football. So present tense, past tense. 20 years passed since we had met. Past tense, past perfect tense. So that's the rule. No sooner had, hardly had, scarcely had are the adverbials that require a past perfect tense and a past indefinite tense for the sentence. Look at the example. No sooner had I reached home than she left. So what the rule says? That require a past perfect tense. So these expressions require past perfect tense structure. Scarcely had the police reached when the man died. Hardly had I finished writing before the teacher ordered to stop writing. Now here is one more interesting thing to notice. These expressions, no sooner had, hardly had, scarcely, they have built in this, than, when, before. Okay, you must not forget them while writing. Coordinating conjunctions and but or yet so and although as because until when whenever as soon as what these conjunctions connect two clauses which have the parts of the same tense usually. Remember, it is usual to connect clauses of same tense. We went to London when we were young. As soon as I came here, he greeted me. As conjunctions after and before are used to connect two clauses which use past perfect tense and past simple. The past perfect tense always comes with a clause of simple past tense. So the officer went for a walk after he had finished his work. The officer had finished his work before he went for a walk. So the work, to sum up, the actions that had been done earlier will always take the past perfect form. The conjunction list requires a modal should in the following clause regardless of the tense of the first clause. This is also an interesting and important thing to remember. That is the conjunction list. Whenever you use list in those situations, you must use a should with it. You can say should is built in with list in these expressions. Ran faster, lest you should miss the bus. He will work hard, lest he should get fired. He worked hard, lest he should get fired. Now, modal auxiliaries always take the base form of the verbs after them. Remember, what are the modal verbs? Can, could, must, may, might. These are the modal verbs. After modal verbs, the verb will be always of base form, whatever the tense is. The tense will be reflected in the modals. He would never do that. She will sing a song for us. Now, another interesting structure. The clause it is time or it is high time requires a verb in the simple past if there is a clause after it. Remember, it is time, it is high time. If you have a clause, then the structures become like this. It is high time plus subject plus simple past. It was high time plus subject plus past perfect. If you do not have a clause, then you will have simple infinitive. This example, please. It is high time, simple present. You studied attentively, past. It is time to study attentively. So there is no clause. You can replace the clause by an infinitive, removing the subject. So that's the trick here. It was high time. We had returned home. So past tense, past perfect tense. The conjunction as if, as though takes simple past or past perfect tense in the following clause. Subject plus simple present as if plus past simple. So it is more or less like the since clause. Robert talked as if he were the prince, or is the only be verb in this kind of sentence. Latham played as though he had seen the ball very clearly. So past tense, past perfect tense. I slept as if I had been dead. So this is unreal situation, and for this situation, we will change the tense. If we have present tense at the first part, at the second part, we will have past simple tense. If we have past tense, then we will have past perfect in the next part. Prepositions, articles, possessives are always followed by nouns or gerund form of the verbs. He is keen on moving to California. I'm thinking about doing the job. Alex insisted on going out then. The prepositions, articles, possessives are always followed by nouns or gerund form of the verb. That's the rule. Now, another interesting part, to is the only preposition that takes base form of the verb. However, usually after to, we use the base form of the verb. However, there are some phrases with to being at the end of them, which require the gerund form of the verbs. Look, these are the phrases you should remember. I'd rather say you must remember this phrase with a view to look forward to, being accustomed to, being used to, admit to, confess to. After these phrases, you will definitely use ing or gerund form of the verb. He went there with a view to confessing his crimes. I'm looking for to meeting the princess. I was used to sleeping at the hour of this day. Now, this is the question pattern. If you want what type of question may come from this lecture. So the options will be given and you will have to fill them up, putting them. We have done subject verb agreement, right form of verbs. If you have any question, you may contact me. I'll be very happy if you please leave a message when you have any problem understanding, and this is your homework. I really appreciate if you please do this, and after doing this, if you face any problem, please contact me through the comment box. Just leave a message, and if you need my number, you will get it. Please talk to me. Now, dear cadets, Corona, or this pandemic, human beings are completely unaware of such type of devastating diseases or curse. We can stay safe, or we can save our lives of near and dear ones, only by staying home. There is no other alternative. So please stay home, stay safe. Thank you and best wishes for you.